Hello again, Struckweb. Today I'm bringing you some bit of news about Torchlight 3, and this would be about the upcoming soon changes, which would be one of them, the major one that people have been asking about is the Endgame, the upcoming Endgame, which got revealed yesterday. Then there would be major changes to the relics and also a public test realm. Here is a message from Max Schaefer, who is the current CEO of Extra Games, the company behind Torchlight 3, and who was in charge of Runic Games as well, who made Torchlight 1 and 2, and he also was one of the 3 co-creators of the Diablo 1 and 2 games in Blizzard North. So, pretty interesting message, pretty interesting words. I'm gonna leave it on the screen for those of you who might wanna read it. Feel free to also pause, because it's not gonna stay there forever, and you can also read it in the State of the Game Week 4 post in the description below. And so let's quickly show you some of the things that got revealed about the endgame and then have a discussion about it before moving on to the other subjects at hand. The first thing I want to talk about would be the Fazeer's Dungeon Challenge, the upcoming endgame mode, and Sean Stone, one of the developers who is in charge about the war and rebalancing things among many other things, is sharing some information, some backstory about the djinn, Fazeer Shah, who was the djinn in Torchlight 2, who we interacted as, who helped us save the Guardian of Mana, which actually the Guardian of Mana we can place as a statue in our fort. So once you interact with the throne, which is basically something you place in the fort, and you cannot place it until you complete Act 3. So that's how it goes. You complete Act 3, you unlock this throne in your fort, you can place it in the fort and you can interact with it. And that starts a series of choices that let you customize your dungeon experience, similar to, for example, the monolith in Vast Epoch. For those of you who have played it, that's kind of similar how it will be. You get to select certain cards, and those choices, those cards, those modifiers for the map you're doing would last for a few rounds. Pretty solid, pretty fun. I hope it's a good mechanic and you get used to it. One might even call this Mapworks 2.0 or Mapworks on steroids, because that's basically what it is. It's an upgraded, boosted Mapworks system with some of the old Mapworks modifiers and some more. As you can see, when you progress through each set of cards, the challenge dungeon becomes increasingly more difficult, and you can see there's different choices you can make via those cards, via the cards that you get given as a choice. And eventually you would complete a certain tier of challenges and face a boss battle. And then completing the boss battle would unlock a new set of challenges. But failing this would penalize you, and you would have to suffer a few levels of penalty, going a few levels below what you've reached. So you have to be prepared to not die when doing this dungeon, the dungeon challenges. And how many challenges there are, we don't know the exact number because they constantly keep adding. So it could be by now they maybe have 300 or 400, who knows. They're constantly asking us for feedback regarding new affixes and weird things that could be done. And I'm really hoping that there is an end to it and eventually we know what the end is. You would also be able to see other people's progression, just to know how far they have reached next to their name, the same way we see their badges. So be prepared for something like this as well. The next thing I would like to talk about would be the rework to the relics, which right now are just like a third skill tree, but not officially. So you see, you've got your first skill tree on a character, you've got the second skill tree, then you've got other tabs like the pet and legendarium and the relics tab, which gives you one relic activation, one relic active, and 2 procs together with a boost to the activation, and a total of 6 passives that kind of modify those procs. This is changing in a very big way, and you would be seeing notes which are from Tyler, the project lead of the game, that have been included in the State of the Week for post on Steam. So in a way, the relics would each have more standardized roles. So Bane would be more specified towards summoning, the Blood Drinker would be more about healing and all of that. Then the crowd control would be for the code heart. Then the random chaotic damage would be from lightning, from the electrode, and then with the fire we would have that more reliable damage that doesn't do things chaotically, that we know it's there and we can rely on when it's needed. So you're seeing footage from the current system, from the current relic system. I'm just showing you some previews in the background while talking about it. But yes, you would have more stuff. You were asking, by you I mean Torchlight 3 community. The Torchlight 3 community was asking about more skills. They were like, I want more skills, I want a third skill bar. Why does Torchlight 3 not have a third skill bar when Torchlight 2 has? Why do we only have this many skills in our passive trees? Well, now the developers are taking this and they would be reworking the relics to give us more active and more passive skills, to be more centric for a specific purpose. You want a summoner, then you get the Bane. You want the healing, you get the Blood Drinker. You want damage, you pick random or non-random damage with electricity from Electrode or the fire from Flaming Destroyer. You want crowd control, then you get the Cold Heart. That's kind of how they're envisioning this system right now, and this was all thanks to player feedback. Now there is one concern, because they're saying that this would be selected when you create your character, which is nice, good, okay. Let us preview what the relics do, show us some little bit of gifs of footage to see what each skill of our skill tree and what each skill in the relic skill tree does, and yeah, that would help us, show us at least text preview so we can hover over the skills. But what if someone makes a mistake? Would that be permanent? Would you like this to be permanent, folks? Would you not like it to be permanent? Because right now we have the freedom, and since Ember cores are getting removed, that means we're not gonna be able to craft them. So how do we respec a relic? Do we even respec a relic? Is the questions that would arise. And I really hope that they consider that if, and that is a big if the relics are permanent selection and you can never respec it, so that at least we get more character slots. Believe me, if that's my only option to create a new character, to test a new combination between a character and a relic, I would need 20 character slots, not 10. Why 20? Well, you have 4 different hero classes and 5 relics, so that's 4 times 5. Meaning 20, yeah. So yeah, I'm good at maths, give me an A plus. So yeah, with this as the as the main concern, whether the relic choice would be permanent or not, I would like to either see some sort of system that lets me maybe get to level 60 and then respec all the points I've spent into my relic and maybe change it. But if that's not the case, at least give me 20 character slots so I can level up one of each, and we gotta catch them all, even though they're not Pokemon. We wanna try all sorts of combinations. And that's a lot of build variety. Even if you take one mage with the electrode and another mage with the electrode, they can be completely differently set up. One could be using a certain set of active skills, another could be using another set of active skills. I'm not gonna reveal much, I'm gonna quickly tell you that relics would get their own new mechanic. I don't think that's revealing too much and spilling the beans on anything, but yeah, they would have their own new mechanic. They're not going to be just boring cooldown skills, and they're also not going to be tied to our mana, endurance, heat or ammo. So they're going to have their own new mechanic to juggle and to mess around with, and there's going to be some passive skills, some active skills, and that's just a preview I saw. So again, I'm trying to kind of walk a fine line here by teasing you without revealing anything specific, but it is gonna be fun. I'm so happy about what I've seen, about their work in progress kind of spreadsheets that that were telling us what passive and active skills the relics would have and how the system would work. My only concern would be if this would be a permanent choice, what would be done. Because first of all, think of this. You cannot level a Wobby just from doing map works and have the end game opened, because you still have to complete all 3 acts. And let's say I want to make 20 heroes to have all those different combinations made. That's 20 heroes of at least 10-12 hours of doing Act 1, Act 2, Act 3. That's like 200 to 240 hours of just leveling, just doing quests. That's just doing the quest, not even doing the leveling to 60 after that. So they should either maybe make the Fazeer Shad dungeon unlock. Once you complete it on a forged, your next forge has it unlocked. Once you complete it on Realm Master, your next Realm Master has it unlocked, or unlock it once per account. But I think the first option is the more suitable one. So yeah, there's a lot of things that would be changing with Relics, but let's talk about something else, and this is the public test realm, because as they mentioned with the Relics there will be a wipe, but have no fear, the public test realm is here, and it would allow us to use something called cheat NPCs. And those cheat NPCs, basically the way they worked in the alpha and beta, I think I'm pretty safe to say this. How they worked is you talk to an NPC and it boosts you to a certain part of the story, whether it boosts you to after completing Act 1 or after completing Act 2 or after completing Act 3. It doesn't matter, you had separate ones for that. But I think now we would only have one that just boosts us all the way to after completing Act 3, being done with the story, and then it gives you some legendary blue and green items, some random equipment, randomly wrote equipment for all of your SWATs, and it also levels up your relic and gives you a relic. So this would be a thing. So with the relic being selected before that, basically the way I think this would work is it would just randomly spend skill points into the relic and non-relic skills after that. But before that, before the relic rework has been added, we would probably have some time to test the end game with the old relic system. And the way it worked is, yeah, it gives you a random relic and it spends some points randomly on that relic. So if you want to make a new one, you would still have to kind of get some member cores and make a new one for a different build. But it does give you gear that could also be legendary, some of those things, so you're not completely naked and at level 40 something right after completing the act, so you can still have some items to use to jump into the new endgame to test it. So those public test realms would supposedly be open to everyone. Does that mean open to everyone who owns the game? I think yes. I think if you don't own the game, you won't be able to get into it, but if you do own the game, you should be able to go into it and test some stuff. So yeah, there's a lot of things that a lot of people have been looking forward to, me including, and I'm really happy that that this thing exists, that public test realm. Now, one more thing that was mentioned by Bean during this post was that there will be alpha tester and early access gifts incoming soon. So maybe they would have fixed the mailbox system bug and they would be sending us stuff from the mailbox, which would be happening during the week of the 27th of July. Apart from that, they're working on a ton of other things, and you can see the issues they're aware of and working on in the post, the State of the Week 4 post, link in the description so you can check what to expect in the future upcoming update or updates. So I would say it again, feel free, in fact I'm encouraging you to share your thoughts and opinion regarding what you think of the upcoming changes, what you think about the endgame, what you think about relics, and if the relics are permanent, would you be happy about that permanent choice, and would you prefer to have more character slots than 10? Just so I can probably relay this message to the developers, or maybe they would see the comments of the video if they find themselves watching it. So we need to let them know what we are expecting, what we what we are thinking of the system and the current information they gave us. So share your thoughts and suggestions, and hopefully we can help the game become even better eventually. If you wanna get notified for more content about this game or others like it, or various different types of RPGs, say RPGs, tactical RPGs, all sorts of RPGs, or other types of wooters, you could subscribe to my channel, get that bell button clicked to not miss those notifications. Thanks again for watching the video, folks. Keep it cool, and until next time, goodbye.